every legend was once a prospect. Don't forget that. Check out the website. We got tons of information on players. Might even do throwback stuff. As far as Everson Walls, we all know that Cheeto Bay Awuzie switched his number from 33 to 24. Shout out to Cheeto Bay Awuzie. 24 is one of my favorite numbers out there, if you guys don't know. Everybody's saying, hey, take your time. I appreciate that. All right, we got another party in the house, right?
You got James on?
Is that you moving your mic, or that's him?
Oh yeah, no, that's me.
That might be
Readjusting the mic to be a little less in the way.
Oh, okay, no worries. Okay, so people got their mock draft out, and I see Bleacher Report saying that we might get Tremont Edmonds. Oh man, I love defense.
Edmonds, let's see. Okay, yeah, Virginia Tech. That sounds right. Yeah,
Virginia
no, that'd be.
Tech.
Yep, that would be a fantastic player to draft. Silver and Blue Nation making a comeback. When did they leave?
We all messed up something. There you go.
We all making a comeback after Adpocalypse.
Right. Adpocalypse. All right, so let's get this thing going one way or another. Let me tone down this. What he says, he said he tried, it doesn't work. He tried to download the app, and he called and tried to add. It's no luck. Must have issues with the Hangout, right?
Yeah, there's no app though. Let's see. All right, I can mute my mic and try and help him out.
Yeah, go ahead, and I just take the floor from here, so we can get things going.
Okay, cool. Jump on it. I'll jump in when we're good.
No worries. All right, guys. Thank everybody for tuning in to the show tonight. We got a full jam-packed show. We're gonna get things going one way or another. Thank those for following the channel for a long time. Those, you know who you are. First and foremost, Jazzy Jeff, salute to you. Fire Jason Garrett. Well, we all have those thoughts, right? We all have those things in our mind of saying get rid of Jason Garrett. But neither here nor there. It just won't happen. It will not happen. It's one of those things where Jason Garrett got something on Jerry Jones that we just don't know. And it's just one of those things where you just got to fit back, fall back, enjoy the ride, because that's just how it goes. The other thing that's out here, this offseason, what went wrong, what went right as far as last season. Let me tell you something. The first thing that I'm going to come out with my mind is that this Ezekiel Elliott thing last year was just atrocious. It was horrible to a way where you just threw the whole rookie team out. Just throw the whole rookie team away, right? sophomore team. You come in, you got all these type of things with Dak Prescott with the card situation, Ezekiel Elliott with the female situation. Those things it's like a heavy burden on the team. And we know that I'm not with team excuses. We saw what Philadelphia Eagles, they walking around now, they got a Super Bowl, and we sitting back saying, okay, remember the glory days. Remember the days when we was out there dominating. Remember the days when we was out there doing our things, out there with the team, just winning. And I'm going to try to keep it PG-13. Those out there know what I mean. I would be crazy if Philadelphia goes on some type of 3 Super Bowls in 4 years type of run, or 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. That's almost blasphemous for me to even say that, for me to even think of something like that, right? That's crazy. But 9-7 is a far reach for us to go next year. I refuse. I'm gonna tell you guys, I refuse for us to go 9-7. Even if I have to go find a clipboard, run out there and coach the team, we got to figure out somehow, some way to go at least win this division, get into the playoff, and go deep, baby. It's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. It's just one of those things that we need to get things going. Let me just read a few comments out there. The Malcolm Butler situation, the option. Malcolm Butler. What we seeing now, maybe we saw the rise. We've been waiting for this fall to happen for the New England Patriots. Now we finally seeing a chink in their armor. We seeing the things that Bill Belichick is now having the issues with the front office, with the general manager, whoever, running the operation. We see that, and now we can see something that can be tangible to our eyes of what happened to the Cowboys. When you win, when there's success, there's a little thing that comes along with success. And there's haters, and there's also turmoil and all that other stuff. If you don't know how to shake that off, you will see this type of production. You will see this type of distraction. You will see the media chasing after them. So I just can't wait for this thing to boil over altogether. But Malcolm Butler, let me tell you, if you was to put Malcolm Butler on this type of defense, and you got Chris Richards, right, coaching this guy up, maybe you will see an even more drastic from an 8th ranked overall defense kicking it down to a 5th or 4th overall defense. Because now you got a veteran guy who understands, who has a Super Bowl ring, understands what needs to be done in order to win in this league. And you have that on your team, that would be something remarkable. Now, I must say this. Will he come for cheap? Hell no. He's not going to be cheap. He's not one of those guys that you can say, hey, I'm going to pick up for cheap. But have we been burned in the past? I would say capital Y-E-S. We've been burned in the past with free agency. And I think that we are so snake bitten. We are so scared in a sense, whereas we just don't go that route, when it's time for us to pick up free agency because of the contracts of Carr, Brandon Carr. His contract wasn't bad. It's just production was bad. If his production was kind of sort of, he got at least 2 or 3 interceptions a year, maybe you'll say, okay, it was a decent deal. He played every game that he needed to play. He was on the field. He never had no off the field issues. It's just the fact that, he's a press man cover corner. He's not a zone cover corner. So he had these type of issues with the type of philosophy of the defense that we had surrounded around him. And we saw what he did in Baltimore. But now all that's removed, right? We don't have that contract no more. What we need to do is, and of course, and I can go all the way back to the Roy Williams contract. Gave up 2 first-round picks. I'm talking about the wide receiver, Roy Williams, not the safety. Of course, what else free agency we messed up? The Joey Galloway, for those who out there who remember, those were all Jerry Jones decisions that messed up everything. If we would just been patient back in those days, we'd have a different type of outcome, a different type of approach to the game. But that's just real talk. This is me just splitting the flavor out there to you guys of what needed to happen and what happened that made us kind of so scary in a sense that we were just so money hungry at getting these players. And that's just what happened. Let me see. We don't need Butler. It's from Robert. Hey, to each his own. But I tell you one thing. What we really need is a veteran presence out there. If you think with your mind, with your heart, with your soul, and you guys already know I'm going to say this, if you think that this team from last year, the people that surrounded with our defense, the young defense that we have, if you really think that they can show up and show out in the playoff time with no experience, don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, so salute. You're back in the building. Okay, great. All right, so I have my guy, Derek here, the Dallas Prospect Show. Don't forget to check out the show. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff out here, what the Cowboys need to improve on, off-season talk too as well, and what the Eagles did to manage to get to the Super Bowl. We're going to take a peek behind the curtains, and see what all they did as far as free agency, off-season moves and things like that. Go ahead, Derek, grab the show, man. It's your world.
Trying to jump back in, see exactly where I missed. I was trying to help James get all set up and up to speed. So I heard you were talking a little bit earlier about Cheeto, the number change, I'm guessing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that was something what you probably already talked about. I think it was just an old number of his he had previously in high school, right?
Yeah, it was a number that he had in high school. We all know that when he got to the team, Nolan Carroll,
yep,
the drinking and driving guy, he had that number. So out of respect, he didn't demand that number.
Right. One of the many fine free agent signings we've had in recent years.
Message. I think the Eagles transplanted him over here so he can spoil our year, right?
Yeah.
That look followed him.
Man, I swear the Brandon Carr signing, when Jerry paid $50 million for Brandon Carr, that just like completely broke us on any free agent signing outside of barely minimum contracts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what were our signings last year? Paella, Carroll, and DeMontre Moore.
Right, a team of guys
that finished the season.
Right, none of them finished the season. It was like very, like you would say, hit and miss. It was all miss.
Yeah, definitely. That's one to me the big things that differentiated the Cowboys from the Eagles this year in particular. And I understand what the Cowboys are trying to do. They're trying to build the draft. You want to develop and kind of hone your own players. You want to pay your own guys if you have to pay, as opposed to chasing a bigger name who's out there, but probably somewhere in his mid to late 20s and on his second contract or something like that. Because then you worry about having to either overpay or you're betting on a guy who's a little past his prime. Like if someone signed Dez, like if Dez was a free agent right now and someone signed him, they would not be getting the Dez that the reputation suggests. They would be getting a declined product, but that's not to say it's not still an effective product, but you get what I'm saying. It's not an ideal way to build a team most of the time, but if you have the correct talent evaluation, you can actually do something with that, and that's what we saw this year with the Eagles. A lot of free agent signings in the offseason, and they weren't afraid of trades either. I mean, they pick up guys like Jay Ajayi via trade. Who was another one of their trade guys? Was Alshon a trade? I think he was he was a signing. So yeah, they sign guys like Alshon Jeffrey, Torrey Smith. They trade for guys like Jay Ajayi. I mean, that's what you do. You build the foundation of your team, and then you kind of build it out from there with a handful of those higher paid guys that can help kind of put you over the edge. Right now, Dallas getting away with not having to pay Dak hardly anything, not having to pay Zeke hardly anything. Now is your prime window for competing if you're Dallas. Look at Seattle for that model. Their team was at their best when Russell Wilson was still on a rookie deal. Mm-hmm. And then when he suddenly is like the highest paid guy on the team, you start to see kind of their era of dominance wither. I think for Dallas, they're in that window, but they're not treating it like they're in that window. And so they need to be open to spending. You're saving the money on Dak so you can spend elsewhere. So go spend elsewhere.
Yes, indeed. So one of the other pieces too as well, I saw when the Eagles made they moves, I was kind of jokingly laughing at their moves. We do know that they pick up Jurgen, I think Timmy Jurgen from the Ravens, a run plug stopper. That move was designed just to stop Ezekiel Elliott, just to stop the Cowboys front offensive line, to just penetrate put more pressure on Dak Prescott to have him rolling out. And then I see somebody that's in the chat box mention also Ronald Darby. They picked that guy up just to, believe it or not, I'm tearing up my place over here. They picked him up just for Dez, believe it or not. A big physical guy. If we all look back at the Eagles game, Dez was eating the Eagles' lunch, especially last year and the year prior to that when he was healthy. Dez been a Eagles killer if you look at a whole bunch of other things like that, right? So
sure.
They didn't really crafted their offseason just for the team that they got now, but they actually crafted it to defeat the teams that's in the NFC East, and I kind of like the I guess the notion to say, okay, we're going to get somebody who can stop the run. We already know our edge is pretty good. We got these guys like the Grahams, and we also have this guy Barnett who can fly off on the edge. We got Chris Long, a veteran guy who knows how to play the system, who's understanding how to stay healthy throughout the season, right? Who's got to come from a good line of football knowledge. So even in a pinch, their team was so much ready compared to the Cowboys. Everybody on the Cowboys were pretty much saying that we were so close last year. Let's keep what we have on our own, but also let's bring in some fresh legs out there as far as the Xavier Woods and the Chidobe Awuzie and the Jordan Lewis. But all three of those guys, it took a minute. It took them week 5 or week 6 to this is what the defensive philosophy is all about. So it took them a minute to get to where they were at towards the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And it took longer for Cheeto. He was dealing with hamstring injuries for over half the season. When he finally did come in, he actually did make some plays, and now as a result, I think people are most eager and excited about him. But it's kind of funny because we have the smallest sample size of him out of any of the the 3 premier corners that we think we have, or defensive backs, I should say. To reference your name, everyone's nicknaming them Law. So with Woods, and we didn't see much of a Awuzie, but what we saw we really liked. But we also got Woods, who was impressive, and we got Jordan Lewis. So I don't know. I'm excited about the future of the secondary for the Cowboys. I think the Chris Richard signing could be a perfect signing for them. The kind of architect, so to speak, of the Legion of Boom. I think the Cowboys secondary, if they pick up maybe one more guy, or maybe if Anthony Brown has a solid bounce back year, they could very well become an elite secondary. And that's great because we already have a good, at least based on this year, we have a good, strong defensive line. Not quite elite, but a strong, defensive line. And then you pair with that a secondary, and you have the makings for an elite defense.
Yeah, so if you pair that up and you get somebody that can play the 1 or the 0 tech, or maybe even slide over to the 3, and just get some extra added push up the pocket up in the middle, then you have your Jalen Smiths of the world flying out to the ball. Then you have a prolonged life of Sean Lee. You have those things out there. And I don't know whether or not you do with the Hicks, because I don't know whether or not Hicks is going to be able to stay on the team if we can afford to keep him. Because it's going to be his first contract outside of his rookie year. So this is the meat and the potatoes of his career. This is how he's going to get his biggest contract. So the kid, if you want to get the money, then this will be the time for him to go get the money. So the only thing is the pieces that we're missing, as I would say, personally, maybe a rangy safety, right? And maybe a guy up the middle that can plug up the middle. And maybe you go with defense, and then you go with the mindset of getting the offensive threat. And this wide receiving core in this draft is deep. You probably can find a wide receiver in the late 3rd round, trade back up, or in the early second. Maybe you can find you a suitable wide receiver like the DJ Moores of the world, or even the Gallup kid. You probably can find one of those guys who can stretch the field and just still have a rapport with one of the up and coming. What's that guy? Brown. What's Brown first name? Noah Brown.
Noah Brown.
Yeah.
You're talking about already Cowboy Noah Brown.
Hey, and I was reading a little article today, and if we cut Dez, right, and I know that the Dez apologist, I'm not hating on Dez, and
The
I'm on
chat box is blowing up.
right, but if you cut Dez, what you save 8 million, right?
Yeah.
When I looked at Dez film, I looked at all his incomplete passes. Hopefully, I have time this weekend to submit that film out so everybody can see. Dez was so limited catching the ball across the middle that really, I looked at all of his routes. Basically, he was limited to an out, a curl, and everything to the outside. He really never attacked the field across the middle. And we do know that what happened against the Arizona game, he did show it out on that particular game, catching the ball kind of semi up the middle and pushing his way through for the touchdown. This is nothing to do with Dak Prescott accuracy. It's more so with to do with the willingness to catch the ball across the middle. By you Xing that out of your playbook, you Xing out tons of plays. What I'm saying is maybe a Dak-friendly type of offense. Believe it or not, maybe a possessive receiver that can catch across the middle, and we might not even lean more towards a quote-unquote burner guy that we always think that we need to have out there. Not saying that we don't take a guy like a John Brown or a Dante Moncrief or what have you, but what I'm saying is that we have to figure out a way to open up that middle of the field. By you handicap in a sense, because Jason Witten don't take the ball up the middle, he don't run vertical routes, he's not stretching that part out of defense. So now you're condensing everything. And when you have your number one receiver being 5'9", 5'8", called Cole Beasley, that can run shallow cross routes and cross the middle, that limits your playbook so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that was part of the change at the receiving coach. They let Derek Dooley go, and they brought in Sanjay Lal. And, in his case, I don't know a whole lot about him. I know he had stints in Oakland and I want to say the Jets. But what little I have heard about him is that he's going to try and kind of open up some of the routes. That was one thing with Dooley we heard. Guys like Beasley, they would say that they were kind of limited to running just one of three routes, and there wasn't a lot of variation because
Yeah, what I was yapping my mouth about. See if I can.
let's see, shut you
Yeah.
down. Yep, yep.
Yeah. Y'all back on though. That's what somebody said. Melvin said that too as well. So we can just continue to talk about the offseason moves, the things that they went out and did. This was
Right.
the
Someone just chimed in on it. We were talking about the diversity of the plays. You were talking about like the Dez pass to Witt in Detroit, and then we moved on to talking about the Green Bay game and how Dallas doesn't run that kind of scheme. Good call out, Dolian Wilson. Good call out.
Yeah, appreciate that. The thing is, when we played against, and I know this is like what it's 2018. That was happening in 2016-17 season, so that seems like it's so far away. But the thing is that when you have a Jason Garrett, when you try to push everything up as far as this year, and it's not about him going for a 4th and 1. It's not about him going for it when it's 4th and 3 and he gets it. It's all about how you scheming your guys to get open. Basically, that's all I'm saying is this Philadelphia Eagles coach, his second year, he was able to push and propel his team to measures that we have yet to see with our team. When we have a guy that's been here for what 8, maybe 9 years, if you add collectively, when he was like
Yeah,
the guy
offensive
on the training,
coordinator. Yep.
the guy in training. So you got to figure out a way to push this team better. And maybe this offseason, maybe the new coaching staff, maybe they play differently. That's all I have. That's all I'm saying there.
Yeah, I agree for the most part. I don't think it's entirely a black and white kind of thing when talking about scheme. When people talk about the Eagles trick play 4th and 1 in the Super Bowl and they throw the pass to Foles, I think that's a different scenario because if you're the Eagles, you have every built-in excuse, right? With all the injuries they suffered. I mean, Wentz alone, let alone Jason Peters and Jordan Hicks and all those other significant injuries. So in that situation, that your back is against the wall and a field goal in that situation. So I think that emboldens you a little bit where you're like, we're not even supposed to be here. We've been bet against every single round. Since Wentz went down, we have been bet against. And so I think that kind of emboldens you to play more along those lines. Whereas if the Cowboys did something like that, like imagine the Cowboys running that situation where you have Dak, Zeke, all that. Can you imagine if it works? Yeah, we praise it. If it doesn't work, we tear them a new one because we're like, why are you getting cute? Why are you taking the ball on 4th and 1 out of Ezekiel Elliott's hand? Or, whatever. That's the perspective of it. So I get the argument, but it's not always a black and white kind of thing. I think the health of the team in that situation and just the general situation regarding um, where they were and how people had been going against them. I think that kind of emboldened it and made for a perfect storm.
Yes, indeed. I see what you're saying, but yeah, we Cowboys, as we can see, when we get into the red zone, the thing that I just always just kind of make me pull my hair out is not the fact that they don't get creative. Because sometimes they do get creative. They do line up 5 wide in the red zone when you do have an Ezekiel Elliott. But the problem is that on a drive, right? You have Ezekiel Elliott getting 5 to 6 yards per carry, and on a drive, and then they get down into the red zone, then they go out and they do some type of 5 wide. That really grinds my gears. If you got a guy that's getting 5 to 6 yards per carry, you don't have to get cute in that aspect of it. But that's the only thing that it kind of sometimes make me just rage with fury, with anger.
Yep.
When Coach Garrett just say, okay, guys, let's just line up 5 wide now. Let's try to force the ball, force feed Dez Bryant. And a good game to just go back and look and watch. It's on my Facebook page. It's the first game, or if you have NFL Game Pass, it's the first game of the season when we got down to the red zone with the Giants. Dak Prescott forced the ball to Dez Bryant, which we end up ultimately kicking a field goal, which could have come back and hunt us. He force feed Dez Bryant trying to get him the ball. It was just kind of like, man, what are you trying to do? We right here at the goal line. Run the ball.
Yeah, that was like 3 straight times too, right?
Right. I'm sitting there like, just run the ball. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Sorry, mic check. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think it is something where it's a balancing act, and it's more so I think understanding your personnel is what I was trying to get at. I think before, um, we got onto the Cowboys several times late last year for getting kind of cute in goal line situations, especially when Zeke was back. You work with what you have, and I don't mind getting creative. I mind doing something illogical like 4th and 1, passing the ball. In general sense, like a fade. I hate the fade pass. That was a tough enough play to complete when it was Romo to Dez, let alone Dak to Dez.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. Like he's not the now. This is not a hate Dez segment, but it's just one of those things where we calling a spade a spade. If you guys feel like we talking about Dez in a negative connotation, go back and watch the 2015 game. That was Tony Romo and Dez Bryant. I know he got injured that game, but his continuity with Dez Bryant at that point was still off. And one can say, hey, Dez never been the same since the Green Bay game. Yes, he had a few sparkles and sprinkles in 2016, but you just really don't see the total package for what he did back in 2014. And one would be foolish to think that he's still the same. It's a good rule of thumb. They always say, good coaches always say, or good philosophers always say, it's better to trade a guy or get rid of a guy 2 years early than there is to get rid of a guy 2 years too late. Just put that in your mind.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I think no matter what, we're looking at Dez being back, obviously.
Right.
Regarding Dez not being the same guy now as he was in 2014, we know in 2015 that we had issues for Dez. I think it was his foot I think he broke his foot and he had maybe something with his knee that was like a sprain at some point, but he only played 9 games that season, which, we almost blocked from memory because there were so many injuries and that was just such a brutal season in general. But I think health plays a part of it. And then I think part of it is just chemistry. Anyway,
Chemistry.
anyway, yeah.
Salute to
Yeah.
Voch
Well,
Lombardi, guys. Go out and follow his page. Thank you for help growing the nation. You guys go follow his page too as well. He says Will Hernandez and Christian Kirk. Shaking my head. I'm nodding my head. That would be a good deal. Pick up Will Hernandez, who can play on the left side of that field. Maybe we won't have to worry about the missing of Ron Leary, because Ron Leary, believe it or not, he helped Dak Prescott so much, and we see that. We see the residuals. If you have Ron Leary out there last year, maybe you'll see a different type of, I guess, what I want to say, a different type of approach from Dak Prescott. Maybe he's not rushing through his throws. Maybe he's comfortable in the pocket. He can step up through his throws and land the ball with the into the hands of the receivers. And maybe the receivers can run better routes too as well, not having the ball to bounce off their body. Maybe that can happen. But I like this Will Hernandez guy.
yeah. Yeah. I definitely like what I've seen. I admittedly haven't seen enough tape on him or anything, but what little I have seen, I've been impressed. Do you already have a breakdown on him on your channel? Or he was the guy who was he the one talking about how he would love to play for the
Right.
Cowboys?
Right. He said he would love, I think he's a
Yeah,
diehard Cowboys fan, and he would love to play for the team.
yeah,
And maybe that'll be the piece, the staple piece that we can have to fit on this offensive line. And maybe you would just keep Chaz for like some type of crazy insurance package, But for Chaz,
yep,
I mean, he was flexed all around last year. He was from tackle to guard, and then they had from guard, and then they said, okay, hey, we're gonna throw you back out to tackle. That's a hard transition to have, And then he was playing right tackle. Then you could put him on the left side. He was just so many places on the line. It's so much when you're talking about playing offensive line. That's just one of the hardest positions out there in the NFL. And especially when you don't have the reps, you're gonna look porous. You're gonna look like you don't belong. That's what happened, Not trying to build
yep.
in an excuse for him, but basically that's what happened.
Yeah, agreed. Let me see here. I just saw something in the chat there. Italian Cowboy, yes, Leary was undrafted. I think it was due to a degenerative knee issue. So the Cowboys took a little bit of a flyer on him, knowing that he was a good prospect, but understanding he might not have a long future in the NFL. Obviously, that hasn't proven to be the case, but that's why he was undrafted.
Right. That degenerative part of it, you just the crap shot, So you just
Yeah,
can't. You never know. Like right now, we feeling the effects. We probably lose out on Tapper. He's one of those guys that can't stay healthy, can't get out there and play on the field. And to believe it or not, he was what he had got a sack. One of the first defensive guys to get a sack last year. So
yeah, I think he got one in like week 2.
so he was showing promise, but it was just one of those things where the injury bug came and bit him.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, got a text from James real quick. One sec.
Now, Voch, hey, if you want to join on, let me know. I see you in the box, man. You're very active. So if you want to join in and talk and spit your mind, I can send you the link. Let me know if that's what you want to do. You're always welcome to the show. So while you're looking that information up, there's this other thing too as well. What we need to do in order to make the free agency picks, the thing that I was going to bring up before I went on a Dez Bryant, okay, he said put me in before I went on to a Dez Bryant deal. If you cut Dez Bryant, if you cut him, now I'm not trying to say that Dez Bryant needed to be cut, that you'll save about roughly $8 million, right? If you pick up and I know this kid may not be available, but I know a lot of people leaning towards him, the Sammy kid that played for the Rams. He's $6 million, you know. Now, if you make Dez Bryant a June, I think, first cut or something like that, you may can get about $12 million. I may be off on the numbers. I'm not trying to say get rid of him, but just think about this whole big picture of it all together. You got a young Dak Prescott. You got a young Ezekiel Elliott. You got to have a wide receiver that can grow with those type of guys. Edgerrin James grew with Peyton Manning. And that's just how things goes, you know. But let me find a little link and let me see if I can send it out to my guy, Voch Lombardi. Derek, what you got over there? I hope I didn't lose you, did I?
No, you got me.
All right. While I'm doing this, while I'm looking up Voch information, we're gonna go to a quick backdrop of some music there so that you guys won't have all of the dead air while I'm looking up this information. Appreciate you guys' patience and time. Yeah, we're going to get this thing going one way or another.
All right. Yeah, so it sounds like James is going to be on next week. So tentatively, I'm thinking next week we do the need headphones using my wireless Bluetooth phone. I think next week we're going to be doing that Longhorn prospect watch. Yeah, James sounds like he's a huge Longhorn fan, so I'm sure he's got some good insight there as well.
Right, I got a player I want to ask him about the kid Deshaun Elliott. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask him about that. What's his thought is on that guy? You know. If I can find Voch's Twitter handle, he should pop up. There you go. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dare I say, I thought I saw a fan call out.
There you go. All right, so I'm going to ask some questions that's in the chat box. Let me see what we have. I'm from the future. Cobbs. That would be amazing. Who's Cobbs? I hear Jalen Smith nerves is getting feeling in the back, and I think his feeling was like already back like towards the latter part of the year, right?
It was improving. My understanding was it was somewhere around like the 85% mark. But he's claiming the drop foot is fading and that the nerve is getting stronger, that he's feeling more strength and flexibility in his foot.
Okay, so you're getting more flexibility, more feeling. I mean, the thing is with Jalen, somebody like Jalen, explosive guy who pretty much got the size and everything, the strength, the speed to play middle linebacker. Hopefully next year, because when you're playing the cover 2 scheme, you got to have your middle linebacker to fill in those middle zones right there. So hopefully when he can get everything going, flying out to the ball, maybe we see even more production from him. Maybe we can have like a defensive version of what Jared Goff did, you know, because Jared Goff first year was like garbage, right? Everybody like, oh, what a bust, right? And then this year or last year, what have you, look at it. You look at Jared Goff and say, man, this guy passing every ball that's out there in the marker. Maybe that can be Jalen Smith next year. Voch, you in the house. What's up? You must still be setting up. I see your picture down there, man. I just thought you was already ready to good to go. So, Derek.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on free agency? Have you been...
I hear Voch sound check.
Yeah.
My thoughts on free agency. Well, I would like to see them go out and maybe someone like Dante Moncrief, as you've mentioned before, would be good. Someone where you don't have to. I don't want them to go out and just spend a bunch of money to spend money. But I do think you can find a couple smart guys to kind of complement what you're looking to do. I don't think Landry's going to happen. I don't think that's going to be kind of in the pocketbook range of what they're wanting to spend, but I could see one of these other guys who could come in and still make an impact and kind of make the offense more quote unquote Dak friendly.
Yeah, I can see that happening too as well. Now Landry is what he wants 13-14 million. That's a hefty price tag there. I'm not willing to go.
I don't
that
think
way.
we're going to be looking to do that. Yeah.
And I tried to look up, I'm not counting Alshon Jeffries as a diva receiver. I'm not saying that Landry is one too as well. But I really think the philosophy of you needing this diva top 5 receiver out there on your team, I think that philosophy has proven now that you really don't need that in order to win the Super Bowl. The last one to win one was what? Probably somebody that's in the 90s.
Last prima donna wide receiver to win a Super Bowl.
And San Antonio Holmes, I don't put him in that category. I feel like
he broke out with that after, though. I feel like he won that Super Bowl with that catch and then kind of turned into that.
Right. And so I don't put him in that. I don't put him in that aspect of it. And I definitely don't put Plaxico Burress in there, as a top 5 prima donna receiver. Plaxico Burress, he didn't mind getting 2 to 3 passes a game. He was one of those grimish type of guys, a good blocker, good block, physical receiver. Maybe somebody can say, "What Anquan Bolden did Anquan get a Super Bowl?"
Yeah, he got one with the Ravens.
Yeah. He was a glorified number 2 receiver, possessive guy when he was with Fitz. So maybe somebody can say that, but I really don't think that you need a top 5 wideout. So
Tia was probably the closest prima donna I can recall in 04.
In 04, and
yeah, he
we
got
all saw
to the
how they
game,
went,
had a
right?
great game, but they lost by 3.
Right. So we saw how they went.
Yeah.
Martavius Bryant. My thing is with the Cowboys and the way the media have a sensation over the Cowboys, it may be one of those situations where it's Martavius Bryant, the media would eat that up too much,
Huh.
And somebody said Hines Ward. He wasn't a top 5 receiver, but he was a grimish type of guy, though.
Huh. I wonder with your Hangouts link showing for a second on the feed if we're gonna have people crashing our thing.
Come on in.
Fans are gonna jump into the Hangout.
Oh,
I don't think the whole link is showing on there. I think it's fine.
Right. I think Voch must have some issues too as well with this. I'm gonna send it.
Yeah, I heard him do a mic check, but it was quiet, and now I don't hear him. Is he on? No, he's not even in the thing anymore.
Let me see. I must have accidentally kicked him out or boot him out. We'll try this thing one more time, and if not, we can go a little bit further.
It's starting to feel like this episode's just destined to be a 2-man show.
Right. But nothing to worry about, guys. We gonna get things going one way or another, right? Twitter. Yep. That's why I can't wait till we make it big one day and we have a what do you call that guy? A producer.
Producer, yeah.
Hey, fade to black or switch over to add this highlight.
Get sound engineers too. That'd be nice.
Right. You're really gonna add the drops in on it,
Yeah, I think James was telling me about that the other day for Silver and Blue Nation, their producer.
Oh, man. Producer G, I think that's his name, man. He's fantastic, man.
Voch has joined.
Oh, he joined.
Yo, what's happening, man? What's going on up in here, man?
What's going on, man?
I hope I'm not interrupting, and I just wanted to bring a little bit of me, a little bit of energy to the party. Is that okay?
That cool? That's fine, man. That's fine right there, man. Bring a little energy to me, man.
What? I mean, let's just jump in and just talk about what the hell I want to talk about, or do we have something that's lined up protocol right now? What you want me to do, Lo?
Look, we talking Cowboys offseason. What they need to bring up this team. Not trying to take a page out of the Eagles playbook, but take a page out of the Eagles playbook.
I'm tired of Cowboys fans comparing us to other people. Listen, Law. In order for humans to survive, right, we need food, water, shelter. In order to be a productive football team in the National Football League, you need quarterback blockers, and quarterback chasers. And when I watch film on Will Hernandez, when I watch film on Will Hernandez, he might be the thing that get this back to what we wanted. You know what I mean? I blame a lot on us kind of failing last year on player execution. We ain't always execute. Jonathan Cooper was solid But sometimes we don't need solid because our identity is a run first team. We're a run first team. And in order to do that, you need a running back and you need an adequate offensive line. Not just a cool offensive line, but you need your offensive line to be one of them ones to drive it. The Eagles had one of them. I don't like comparing, but the Eagles got a pretty good offensive line. The Tennessee Titans got a pretty good offensive line, right? Our offensive line last year had kind of sort of three new people. You know, we had to deal with Lael learning and figuring it out at the end of the year. You know, we had to deal with Chaz and them, Byron and them, Jonathan and them. But Will Hernandez, if we just plug this cat in at left guard, we ain't got nothing else to worry about.
Hey, man, hold on, man. They calling you Voch Luther King, man, but keep preaching, man.
Let them fly, man. Let them fly. If we look, you remember how, you know, because y'all was talking about Ronald Leary earlier or whatnot.
Right.
Remember how special the DeMarco Murray days made you feel? You know, last year Zeke had to sit out for 6 games, whatever. But before that, you know, when Zeke played 16 games, how special that made you feel when we would just come out and impose our will on people, you know, or not just, oh boy, just Byron Bell out there. I hope you don't grab no cloth and turn this 3rd down conversion into 3rd and 30. You know what I'm saying? Oh boy, I hope Chaz can move his feet. Will Hernandez ain't got the best technique in the world. I'll say that, but he's not a top 5 pick neither. But Will Hernandez whoops people with bad hand placement, law. You know what I'm saying? Like he has everything he needs to be great. You can teach him everything else. He you know, he's not slow-footed. He's strong, big, powerful dude. He doesn't move nowhere. And pass protection, if he got you, that's it. You're done. That is all. Wrap it up. The run game, he get those big paws on you, you're done. That's it. What I like about him the most, he wants to finish you. He looks to finish you. I was watching film him versus Navy, Army, whatever, Marine football team, whichever one of those football teams, right? And he was trying to pancake this dude, and he wouldn't fall. And you could tell Will Hernandez really wanted this dude on his back, but he wouldn't go. Will Hernandez said, get on your stomach then. And he finished him, Law. And he finished him. You want to talk about dogs? I hear you talk about this all the time, Law. You want dogs on your team?
We need dogs.
Tyron Smith is a gentleman. You know, Travis Frederick is a gentleman. Lael nasty, but we ain't seen him do it in a minute. Will Hernandez is a dog. And I will gladly pay my 19th overall pick for Will Hernandez. I don't want the peanut gallery to come out here talking about why would you spend a 1st round pick on an offensive lineman. No, you spending that 1st round pick on your offense's identity back. That's what you spending a 1st round pick on. Your offense's identity. Right? You want to talk about Dak Prescott? Take the ball out of Dak Prescott's hands. Let Zeke Elliott run it 30 times a game. You want Alfred Morris to be better? Put a better left guard in there and get our identity back. That's what I see with Will Hernandez at left guard, then.
Give the church their money. Voch, man, laid it down, man. So this is the thing. I don't know, I'm getting an echo. I don't know if from your end or my end. I don't know who end is on. But hey, the thing is from here, I also saw that you put Christian Kirk for the 2nd deal. Is that what you leaning towards too as well, as far as the 2nd pick?
Man, it's going to be a rough bowl of soup to just hope Christian Kirk doesn't get picked in the 1st round. It's possible, but clearly I take Will Hernandez at 19 because there's a lack of great offensive linemen in the National Football League. We all know that. It's hard to find good offensive linemen. And I think guys like Zach Martin is going to make it easier for guys like Isaiah Wynn, guys like Will Hernandez, guys like Connor Williams. They're Billy Price. You know, we're looking for interior linemen. You know what I'm saying? So I think those guys are potential 1st round to maybe like the 46th pick. You know what I'm saying? I don't see them leaving the top 50. Okay. Guys like Christian Kirk may stumble within the back part, the early part within that 60 range. He may be in there with Anthony Miller. He may be in there with Cortland Sutton, some of those guys, right? And you can hope that the Cowboys would use one of those compensatory picks and package it up and move from 50 to 45 or so and go get the Dak friendly Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk is as Dak friendly as it gets, probably the most Dak friendly wide receiver in this draft because he runs quick routes. He has great hands, and he's nasty with that yak. You know about that yak, Law? He nasty with that yak. He could take a slant, a bubble, a screen, and turn it into 6. That's what I love about Christian Kirk, secure hands.
Secure hands. So now looking at Texas Tech film, why they didn't never line him up on the outside? Or was he just eating so much in the inside he didn't need to be lined up on the outside? Why they didn't do that? Or just how their schemes are, let me know.
That's the big question. They didn't line him up much outside, but if you can take slants and bubbles and screens to the house, that's pretty much where you would line somebody up at. You can run screens from the X position, but they haven't had great quarterback play, and sometimes it's easier to get the ball to the slot guy than the outside guy. I've seen Christian Kirk run some outside, but when you want to take advantage of mismatches, when you want to get the ball to somebody in space, Christian Kirk is better when he has both sides of the field to work with. If you line him up at the X, then he got the left sideline to deal with. Just like if you line him up at the Z, he has the right sideline. You line him up at slot, he got the whole field. You put him in motion. You move him around. You do all these type of things, right? So I think Christian Kirk is a number 2 receiver. I wouldn't mind lining him up at the X, or the slot, or at running back. He lined up at running back a few times and ran some routes. Put him anywhere in those spots, and you see the other guys around, you start to eat a little bit. It just happens that Texas A&M quarterback situation was pretty crappy. I don't want to demonetize you, but it was pretty crappy.
Yeah, we got to keep it PG-13. You guys know what I mean. So we got all these guys out there. I said the wide receiving class is so big. You got the DJ Charks of the world. You got the Gallup kid. You got the DJ Moore. You got the Anthony Miller. If you was to put these things outside of Christian Kirk, if you was to rank them, give me a quick thoughts on you ranking those guys. As far as it relates to the Cowboys, what they can do for the Cowboys, where would you rank those guys at?
Well, I think after Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk, you looking at guys like James Washington, Anthony Miller, Equinemius St. Brown. How about that mouthful right there? I ain't really to rank these guys just yet because I think the combine is very important for wide receivers because just like you just mentioned with Kirk, like everything he did was pretty much based on what his offense gave him. But what the combine is going to do, they're going to put you in different situations that's going to make you uncomfortable. They're going to make you turn around quick and catch a football. You may not see that in Texas A&M. You may say, okay, you run this bubble and the ball going to take 3 seconds to get to you and you're going to catch it. Not at the combine. They're going to put you in a bad situation. They're going to make you run all the routes. They're going to make you catch balls in all different types of the field. They're going to make you drag your feet on the sideline. And we're going to learn a lot about these guys, a lot about hips and, speed, hands, and all that. So I'm going to wait till the combine before I go around ranking people. But if we don't get Christian Kirk, I mean, it's some options for number 2 receivers. Everybody except Cortland Sutton.
Okay. Good breakdown there too as well. I saw that when you did your film breakdown of Christian, you kind of said his productivity was kind of similar to what we thought that we was going to get with the Odell Beckham. Like you kind of made that analogy, right? Like what Odell Beckham should have did in college, basically, what he's showing out there on the field now, right?
If you look at Odell Beckham in LSU and Odell Beckham as a Giant, they two different people. Where did this come from? Where did this explosion in hand size come from? Now, he still had the freaky catches or whatever, but he wasn't the same dude. I would imagine that Christian Kirk is just like LSU Odell Beckham. New York Giants Odell Beckham, whole nother dude. I ain't even say that. Don't even put those two dudes in the same category. That's freaky athletic, and then there's Christian Kirk. He ain't freaky athletic, but he's quick. He's explosive. He has good hands. He got quick routes. They're smooth. They're sharp. They're crisp. And he's super yak guy, but he ain't Odell Beckham.
Yes, indeed. Derek, man, didn't mean to cut you off, man. You got any thoughts you want to ask Voch on a player?
Let's see, a specific player. I've just been listening for a while. It's infectious.
My bad, man. I do this.
Oh, no, man. You're
The
good.
lost show. It ain't even his show no more. My bad.
Yeah,
It's
no, man. You're good.
Voch Nation
infusion
show,
is
baby.
always good.
Hey, you got a guy on your team, Sooners, Orlando Brown. You want to hear what Voch have on him? You know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him?
I didn't see if he had already done a breakdown or not on him, but yeah, I'm curious to hear what you think on Orlando Brown.
Orlando is a big old dude. He's a huge old dude. Apparently, he's lost 20 pounds for every year that he's been in school, whatever. So salute to him for that. Just one thing, just looking at him, he does learn. He learns his job really, really well. You'll see freshman year, he'll have a problem quick setting guys, right? And then he'll get whooped quick setting people. But then he learns how to handle fast guys quick setting. My only, so I feel like once you get him to the league and teach him or whatever, he'll, kind of adapt, but he is slow-footed. It's a big problem. Slow-footed. Sometimes he misses with his hands. And to be that big, I wish he was stronger and nastier. You know what I mean? So, naturally people want to say, hey, put him at guard. At the end of the day, he's still 6'8", 6'9", or something like that.
6'8", yeah. 6'8".
Wow.
I think 6'8", 340.
6 huge is what he is. And that's kind of tall to be talking about you're playing guard. So you either need to be shorter or you need to bend your knees and get up under people. He plays kind of high sometimes, so we're going to have to work that out. But being slow-footed and playing kind of high, being big and not being that strong and aggressive, I mean, we're going to have to see. But I do get positivity when I see him do something bad freshman year and he fixes it by sophomore year. He does this terribly sophomore year, fixes it by next year. You know what I mean? I love that in offense.
Yeah.
So would you flip over a table with the 19th pick, the Dallas Cowboys select Orlando Brown? Would you flip over the table at that point, or would you just say, okay, I'm gonna have to?
I'd be pretty pissed off at 19 if we got Orlando Brown. Not hating on Orlando Brown. I just don't think he's a 19 guy. Orlando's more like a.
I got him early second.
It depends, man, because how this draft works. Guys like Connor Williams is gonna fall. Guys like Martinez Rankins from Mississippi State, McGlinchey's gonna fall. I think he's behind those guys. So late second, early 3, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. But that's just me. I'm not Cleo Lombardi Vostradamus. I can't see the future. But I just got a feeling he's going to go after guys like Connor Williams and Martinez Rankin and Billy Price and Will Hernandez and Isaiah Wynn and, guys like that.
No doubt. So what about this off-season free agency? Do you have a guy for the Cowboys?
I want to sign a free safety because I don't think the draft has a really good free safety. I think if we can finally bring in somebody that can play free safety, it's going to make the corners better. You know what I mean? The corners are good, but Byron's not a great free safety. Byron is more of an athlete. So when you put the entire field in front of him and tell him to figure stuff out, he's not that great. But what he's good at is, hey, you're a big, strong, physical, fast dude. Go line up directly in front of that tight end and chase him. That's what Byron Jones is really good at. So I would rather him play corner than free safety. Jeff Heath, he can see it, but he's not athletic enough to get there. Every time we saw Anthony Brown getting beat deep, we saw Jeff Heath behind him cussing, going, damn. Just, you know what I'm saying? So I think we need someone that's actually a ball hawking, and I don't even want to say ball hawkers. It's hard to find them, but a smart, in the right place at the right time free safety that can move the quarterback eyes into a different place. We got 3 strong safeties on this team, maybe 4. Byron can play it. Cheeto can play it. Frazier can play it. Heath can play it. Woods can play it. We got a lot of strong safeties. None of these guys can play free. Woods can play free, but he's a better nickel strong guy. You know what I mean? I want a free safety that can make a quarterback fear a side. You know what I mean? Like, you put your free over here, then you put your best corner on the other side. That's what I would rather us do. And I don't think they have that in the draft. There's a lot of strong safeties in this draft. Guys like Elliott, Ronnie Harrison, Derwin James, Marcus Allen, Ronnie Watts, all those guys are strong safeties to me. That, some of them can play free, but they're not very rangy guys. So we're gonna have to buy somebody that's been doing this already. So Earl Thomas, hey,
He writing letters and everything. Said, I want to be with the Cowboys. Come on, just go ahead and make it happen. Come on, Jerry Jones, make it happen. Offered up. What would you give up for him?
Like a round pick?
Mm-hmm.
Well, shucks, man. Cause I like drafting guys, man. I'm a draft dude, man. Give me picks, man. I mean, but if he's really having a turbulent situation with Seattle, I'd imagine a 3 or a 4 would be fine. I mean, he got a big contract too, so a 4 or a 5 would be fine. I don't know, but that's still Earl Thomas. I think Earl just don't want to be there no more, like altogether. So Seattle may be in desperation mode. Hey, man, he's not gonna be with us anyway. Let's just get what we can get. But I don't know, man. I want my picks.
You want your picks. All right, so as we getting ready to wrap this thing up, we've been out here for a minute. Derek, any thoughts on your mind as far as free agency, off-season moves, draft picks, anything like that?
I need some adjustments from the Cowboys with regard to personnel. We saw last year that this was coming back. Everything that Dak had in the first year, I think the only real personnel change out we had was ultimately Lucky Whitehead switched out with Switzer. Beyond that, we brought back the entire receiving core and all of that for him, and it just kind of shows how things don't always pan out the same year to year. What works one year doesn't necessarily work the next year. And I think the 2016 team was kind of more built with Romo obviously in mind. So I think it's good that they're looking to finally kind of embrace a little more, what makes for a Dak-friendly offense, and getting a solid receiver who can run a wide tree of routes and has sure hands is one of the best things you can give to Dak, I think, right now. And as you said, it's a deep draft, so hopefully they don't have to panic and jump on a guy in the first couple rounds. I'd like to see a couple defensive guys go before we look receiver.
Defensive. Okay. And what about you, Voch, before we wrap this thing up? What would you like to see what happened? Pretty much you said it all already, but just repeat what you had to say.
They call me Voch Luther King in the chat. What was the question, bro? My bad.
Yeah, man. What do you see like as far as this offseason? What are your last final thoughts on the Cowboys? What they need to do? I know it's still soon, but before the draft, before free agency come into play, what do you think that we need to do as far as this offseason?
Well, I'm draft guy, man, but trenches, man. Trench play is so important. I already made my case for Will Hernandez. Also, let me just say this, Cowboys fan. I just want us to be realistic as far as when draft time comes around. You know what I mean? Let's be realistic. So if you're a Cowboys fan and you want to hit me up on Twitter, yo, Voch Lombardi, you think we can get Roquan Smith? You'll probably be gone, fam. Tremaine Edmonds, whoever your favorite corner may be, they'll probably be gone. That's what happens when you win ball games. You end up drafting 19. You know what I mean? We're not gonna have those top picks like that. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Vita Vea might drop. Let's get Vita Vea out of our head, bro. Let's start looking at guys we can get later. There's a defensive tackle from Florida named Taven Bryan. I just did a film session on him. You would love to have that dude on your team. They got 2 gangsters in red helmets from North Carolina State University that showed up to the Senior Bowl and whooped everybody. Justin Jones, B.J. Hill. Either one of those guys, your interior defensive line would be fine. Let's get to know these guys a little better. Will Hernandez, Isaiah Wynn. We're not gonna get Quentin Nelson. Sorry. You know what I mean? So let's just have a better understanding of the potential guys that we can get, and let's not waste our time thinking guys like Tremaine Edmonds is gonna fall to us. But free agency, man, I don't know, man. I will sacrifice Anthony Hitchens and one other guy to get Earl Thomas. You know what I mean? And I love Anthony Hitchens. That man plays. His foot could be broke. He gonna play football. And when we dealing with a Sean Lee that lays down and says ouch sometimes, who's not as reliable as you want him to be, you can always count on Hitch to be there. But man, I will sacrifice Hitch and Terrence Williams and 3 other people to get Earl Thomas on this team and just draft to fill in the spots. Cowboys Nation, don't panic. We may lose and gain some people, but the most important part is our core is intact. We got a quarterback, we got a running back. The offensive line is great. It can be greater. And and we just building that defense slowly but surely, man. Free Randy Gregory.
They off the weed. All right, so Derek, where can we find all the good product about the Dallas Prospect Show? Dallas Prospect Show, Derek, you there? You live?
Yeah, I got you. There was like a weird distortion on the mic for a second, but I got you.
Yeah, I was saying, where can they find you at?
Oh, sorry. I didn't. We're in the wrap up now. The website is dallasprospect.com. You can also find us on Twitter at Dallas Prospect. It's basically a hub for all things Dallas sports and pop culture as well. So film review, gaming news, things like that are also there. But first and foremost, we are about Dallas sports.
Sports, that's what I'm talking about. Voch Lombardi, where can they find you at?
VOCHLOMBARDI on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and most importantly, YouTube. If you have a draft prospect that you're curious about, maybe a little inquisitive there, I do film breakdowns. I think I do it pretty well. I'm pretty informative, entertaining when I do it, maybe kind of sort of. Swing by, drop a sub, drop a like, give me a couple views. It helps. I got a film session on Will Hernandez and Taven Bryant. If you missed the Senior Bowl, that's up there. Senior Bowl one-on-ones, O-line, D-line. I'm very much an O-line, D-line guy. All those videos are there. I'm commentating over them. So Law Nation, thanks for having me, man. Salute.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you for joining in. Just want to tell everybody that's in the chat box, shout out time. Italian Cowboy, shout out to you. Billy Murphy, Brian Peters, Jason G, J Farm. Shout out to you, Gerald, Tay Sports, and who else? Mr. Wright, Ace Plays, Seth. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for joining in to the show. And remember, you guys are listening to nothing but the best. Salute.
We do not need to draft a tight end.
We out. Man, no, I'm going to fight, man. We got to draft a tight end, brother.